and welcome back to 5 Questions Over Coffee with Travia Steward today. Travia is a breakthrough coach. I'm really looking forward to hearing to her and hearing some of the story that Travia has about how she became a breakthrough coach, because it is fascinating. I've seen it on the website. Travia, welcome to It's Not Rocket Science, 5 Questions Over Coffee. I hope you're there with your drink ready at hand.
I am, Stuart. Thank you so much for having me. I got a nice Four Sigmatic cup of coffee. And so, yeah, I'm ready to go.
I wish I could drink. It's afternoon for me. I wish I could drink coffee in the afternoon. I will be up all night, but that's not a bad
Got
thing
it.
for me. That's not a bad thing. So Travi, tell us something about the sort of people that you work with. What are the problems that they are suffering with that you're trying to help them with?
Right. So I work with both men and women, probably more women than men. But, people have been after me, my business coach is like, oh, you got to niche down, get more specific. But the clients that I have that come to me that I'm able to make a difference in their life, they are stuck. They are reactive to everyone around them. I call it giving other people control of your thermostat. Like we were talking before the call, like our temperature thermostat in the house is like we give people permission to piss us off all the time. So I, help them control their own thermostat. But what happens is the people that I work with, they just one day have looked in the mirror and said, you know what? I think there's just more. And so I help them peel back the layers of, well, what does that more look like? What area of life is that more that you want? And I help them go after and achieve that. And that's what I do. And so, like one woman uh, described it as, Travy, I'm sort of in a holding pattern. I help them get out of that holding pattern and take action on their life.
Okay, I think if that's if the niche is people who are stuck, that's the niche. That's as far as you
Right.
need to take it.
Right.
So tell me, what are the things that some of those people have done before they seek help that haven't maybe worked for them? What are people listening at the moment saying, I think I recognize this. What are they that are likely to have found themselves trying to do?
Right. And it's a lot of the same things that I found myself doing when I had the proverbial moment of looking in the mirror. I read books. I went on Amazon. I started doing conference after conference. I did a lot of self help. But what I found was those were band aids and those were things that fix it temporarily, but did not get to the core of, well, why are you there to begin with? And so what I find is everybody tries to fix it and go, oh, okay. And then we try to fix all the things at once. I'm just going to fix my life, instead of going, well, maybe let's look at our health. Okay. Maybe it's the relationship. Maybe it's me. And so that's what I find, that they're just trying to, encompass every single thing at one time. And it's self-help. I got this. I can do this. But we can't see our own blind spots. You need someone to see what you can't see.
Yeah, that's the old Johari window, if I remember rightly, isn't it? It's there are certain things which you just do, which you just cannot find for yourself. Somebody has to be looking in
Right.
at you and sort of pointing out, do you realize in a certain situation this is the behavior you exhibit? And you go, no, because you're behaving in a particular way, aren't you?
Right. Exactly. That's a good way to put it. I love
Yeah,
that.
no, it's something that was said to me a long time ago now, and somebody sort of did point something out, and I went, "No, that's not right. You've got to be joking." And then I eventually realised they may have a point, and sometimes you need somebody who just has got that external view and your
Yeah.
best interests at heart to just say, "I think you ought to be aware of something."
Absolutely. Yeah. Because I mean, we can't, there's so many things we can't see because so many times I'm like, oh, I didn't do that. Oh, here, you know what? Here's
Yeah.
my phone. Look at the video. You did. And I was like, oh my God, I did do that. For some reason, we have selective memory sometimes, right? Sometimes we just don't know.
So I think you've got a great free resource that can help us with some of this trivia. So I'm going to just put something on the screen now, which I hope is going to come up. Yeah, it has. Yeah. So this is a great resource that I think can help people who are in that position at the moment and would really love to sort of get to somewhere different. Tell us about this valuable free action.
So, this is my breakthrough to greatness guide. And what I have found in my work is that in the very beginning it takes you through a quiz of this, with your mindset. Is it fixed?
Mm,
Is it growth? Because first of all, if we don't know if we're stuck, like I remember when my mom was still alive, my mom was a diabetic, and she would call me. She lived in New Orleans, and she would say, oh, and hey man, how you doing? And she'd be smacking in my ear, and I was like, what are you doing? What are you eating? You're smacking. She's like, oh, I'm eating pecan pie, but you're a diabetic. And she goes, I know, I'm just gonna take an insulin shot. I'm too old to change, right? So that was an example of her having a fixed mindset. So if we don't know where we are to begin with, and we're so fixed and stuck in our ways, then the rest of the guide's not even going to help us, right? So then it's a matter of looking at, well, what are the things that you really want to do that you're fearful of? Where does that fear come from? And so it's just a very simple, like 3-page guide. That's the beginning, the foundation of, let's start thinking about where I am and what is it that's stopping me. And this is an example of, this is some quick action that you could take that goes, okay, I want to get out there and write that book, but I'm afraid of what? I'm afraid because my friends are going to say this. I'm afraid it's going to expose me, whatever that is. But it helps you to get down to the fear of what is that thing that's stopping you, and then a little bit of affirmation work, a little mindset work as to, okay, if I'm going to step out and do that thing, what am I going to do? How am I going to take the action and able to do that? So it's just a quick thing. I know people don't like long, ebooks or anything like that. So it's a breakthrough guide that could start them on their journey.
I like the idea of a breakthrough guide. That's a really good one. That's a good one. Has there been a particular book or course program in your life that has affected you and taken you on this journey that you'd like to share with us?
This is the guy that did it, right? I picked up his High Performance Habits, Brendon Burchard, and everything about what Brendon stood for, I immediately loved. Like, this was a time in my life when I was still teaching high school theater. And I, looked in the mirror and said, there's got to be more than this, because I kind of, run that full race, and it was time to switch chapters. And I picked up his book. And then, what you do is you go Google, oh, there's a conference coming to Phoenix. Oh my goodness, wonderful. So I went to his conference, and I just started eating everything, just eating, drinking Brendon Burchard. And he was the one that really lit that fire under me initially, and it was his book, High Performance Habits, that really opened the door and said, hey, welcome to my world. So yeah, it's him, and it's that book.
Everybody needs a fire lit somehow. Everybody needs some sort of fire lit.
So good. Yes. And he lights it, and I've always said that when I come full circle, and I'm throwing it out to the universe, here we go, that my first taste of being extraordinary and being in the company of extraordinary people was at his High Performance Academy. And so to come full circle in a full evolution, declaring that I will speak on Brendon Burchard's stage. And so that is the fire. And then that's when I feel like, oh my goodness, it's the full evolution, right, of this journey for me.
And when's that going to happen, Travia? When's that going to happen?
I would love for it to happen in the next 3 years.
Terrific. Well, that's a goal. That's something to pin.
Yes.
First, people. In 3 years' time, we'll all be going, and we'll be in that conference hall listening to Travia taking us through the journey that she's been on. And maybe she'll only do it for the first part, and she'll leave the 3 years from now until then, until her second speech.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
So there must be a question you're thoroughly thinking, Travia, that you're thinking, well, why hasn't he asked me about this? Because that's the real question that really helps to focus the mind. What is the question that you'd like us to have discussed? And please, when you've asked it, answer it for us as well.
Absolutely. So as I was talking about with the breakthrough guide, the question would be, someone's listening right now and they're like, okay, yeah, I've done the whole thing in the mirror, but where do I start? How do I begin to take action? That breakthrough guide will help. But also, the question is, where do I start? You take a life audit. If we had to go through the major areas of our life, like I would want someone to go, okay, if I considered my life a 10 out of 10 being the best it could ever be, which area am I going to start with? And so it would be Okay, with my relationship, with my marriage, is it a 10 out of 10? Well, it's a 4 because we're not communicating, right? So, what about my health? Do I feel good? Do I have the physique that I want? Well, you know what? That's an 8. Yeah, absolutely. What about my job? Do I love my job? Absolutely. That's a 7. So then if you're taking a life audit and go, okay, if my lowest number, my lowest score is a 4 out of 10, that's where I should start. I should start where there's a bigger gap, there's a bigger deficit, so that we're not trying to run the whole gamut and trying to solve and fix everything one time. Because most people are like, if I just fix him, I'm gonna fix everything in my life. What's not true? A lot of times it's us. So it's starting and choosing in one specific area. Let's start there. And then sometimes it's picking that area that goes, you know what? This one thing, if I fix this with me, that can be a domino effect that could improve communication, improve my health, give me more discipline, give me more motivation, all the things. So I would say, where do I start? You start with a life audit, auditing where in your life you want to fix.
That is a really good piece of advice, Travia. I like that. A life audit is it's a frightening prospect as well, because that will expose all of those things that you're thinking, well,
Absolutely.
that's something that's got to be fixed. And then challenge yourself to get the help you need in order to make those big breakthroughs, and to
Yes,
really break through to those massive actions that you need in order to take to perform and perform better.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Travia, this has been a really interesting discussion. Thank you so much for spending a few minutes with us.
Absolutely.
I really appreciate you spending a few minutes. Listen, I'm just going to put scroll across the bottom now. I send out an email every Monday with who's coming up, what they're going to be talking about, so you can get onto the live stream or onto the recording and download it later, so that you can actually pick up on some of this stuff. And this is the link you need to go to, which is tca.fyi/subscribe. If you come onto that, you will get notification of who's coming up, what they're going to be talking about, and join the discussion. Travia, thank you so much for spending a few minutes with us. Really appreciate you sort of doing this and talking about some of that real challenge that you need to challenge yourself with to make those breakthrough. And I'm so pleased you've been able to share it with us.
Oh, thank you so much, Stuart, for having me. It's been a pleasure, and thank you for allowing me. I know you're in the evening to start my day having, talking about things that I can talk about all day long. So
I love
thank you,
it.
Stuart.
I love it. No problem at all. Thank you, Travia. Speak to you again soon.
Okay, thank you.